Trustee Carter?
Aye.
Trustee Cumming?
Aye.
Trustee Reichert?
Aye.
Trustee Fuller?
Aye. Okay, thank you. By a vote 4-1, the board has approved ordinance 2015-1457 as outlined by Trustee Cumming. Next order of new business tonight is an Historical Society sign tour update, and that will be presented by Trustee Carter.
Thank you. Actually, I have nothing in my packet, so I'm going to call Robbie Matheson up here, and he can explain.
Hello, Dave. Keep this short. I know everybody wants to get home. Although the project's been moving very slowly, it is moving, so I wanted everybody to know that. I'm going to pass around 3 signs here. Those are 3 of the 5 that are completed, and those are going to be the first 5 that go up in the village. We will be placing the order for those signs at the end of next week, as long as the village board doesn't see any problem with moving forward with that concept or that design. Before we said, start writing checks, we wanted to make sure all of the metal sign bases are finished. They're ready to go. They're very similar to our light post, Kyle, out on Prospect. They're not going to detract away from what we have going on. I can promise you that. In the next week or 2, Kyle, I'd like to meet with you and show you the areas I have in mind, and then get your opinion on what you think is good, along with maybe code enforcement. Make sure we got everything straight in there.
Yeah, just let me know.
Okay. But there's also there's not one in there tonight, but there is one about our automobile industry. It's called You Auto Know instead of You Oughta Know. And then there's also one about our bicycle industry, which goes back to the bicycle factory. So that's going to talk about our high wheel bicycles and all that good stuff. During the winter, I plan on doing the next 5. I'm a lot slower at work, and hopefully we can get those up. So apologize about the wait, but I think it's going to be a great project when it's finished, and appreciate your support. So
Thanks, Rob.
I'll grab those at the end.
Okay.
Robbie, just taking a look at those. Those look great.
Yeah, you like
Yeah,
those?
those look awesome.
I wish they would be coming a lot
good.
quicker, but appreciate that. Thank you.
Take your time, get it done right, and that's what you're doing, so do it. Thank you. Okay, next order of new business tonight is Resolution 2015-06. That will be presented by Trustee Cumming.
Thank you once again, Mayor Allen. At this time, I ask that make a motion that the board pass resolution number 2015-06, which allows us to enter into a contract. Well, it's a renewal of a contract with Good Energy LP out of New York. I think we've been with them since what, 2010, 2011?
I think 2010, yeah.
Yeah, 2010. And what this does, since the deregulation of the electrical industry, this allows Good Energy LP to act on our behalf to go out and find the best rates for electricity per kilowatt hour, so we can offer that to residents and small businesses in the village.
Okay, I have a motion for approval from Trustee Cumming.
Second.
Second from Trustee Reichert. Any questions or comments from the board before the board votes? Okay, once again, this is for board approval of Resolution 2015-06, authorizing the execution of a service agreement for the supply of electricity for residential and small commercial retail customers who do not opt out of such a program, as outlined by Trustee Cumming. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Trustee Harn?
Aye.
Trustee Carter?
Aye.
Trustee Cumming?
Aye.
Trustee Reichert?
Aye.
Trustee Fuller?
Aye. Okay, thank you. By a vote of 5-0, the board has approved Resolution 2015-06 as outlined by Trustee Cumming. Last order of new business tonight is regarding a potential application for Transportation Alternatives Program grant, which will be presented by Trustee Harn.
Oh, sorry. I got caught up in the picture. That's really interesting.
Pretty neat, huh?
Really, Kyle discovered the grant, and I think we'll let Kyle run with it and start explaining what this whole grant is about and where he's thinking and why he's thinking it. And I mean, it's actually, the more I listen to it, the more I like it, so.
Okay, all right. This is Transportation Alternatives grant. This is federal money, but don't let that scare you. This is federal money that up until a couple of years ago, it came through IDOT, and IDOT programmed it. 2 years ago, they changed the system, so now this money actually comes to the local MPO, and they have the authority with a subcommittee to program the money. So it's gotten much easier for MPO member communities to actually compete for this money. So this money's been awarded twice now. It was in 14 and 15. There was an East Peoria project and there was a Washington project. Both of them were trail-related, bike-related. They have money right now for 15 and 16 that they're looking to program. And the timing on this is kind of weird. The reason we're having to do it in this format is because we canceled our December meeting, which is great. And this application is actually due January 4th. So that's kind of why we needed to discuss it in this format tonight. This is just a discussion. We're not looking for a vote tonight. The vote would actually come in 2 weeks, correct? Mr. Administrator is giving me an odd look.
I think you're correct. We need to have some time for review, I guess, of the topic before we vote on it, so you're correct.
Right, okay. And that would still, if we leave this meeting tonight feeling like everybody is in favor of this, this will give us some time. We can start kind of getting our ducks in a row as far as working on the application, working on support letters, working on estimates, and we could bring a more complete package back to vote on at the next meeting in 2 weeks. But essentially what we're looking to do is get some type of trailhead or trail stop built in the Heights. And I know I sent out an email a few days ago. The location at first glance does seem a bit odd, but it actually was pretty strategic. And really the location just presented it to us just a couple of weeks ago after we got done doing the big drainage project down there. Turns out that we own quite a bit of property down there at the end of Peoria. The drainage issues have cleared up now that it's been graded. A little bit of grass is growing down there. It's actually a pretty nice site. And it's really from the trail to the downtown, it's our most direct link. It's about 2 blocks. It's down a safe, quiet, easily bikeable residential neighborhood street. And it would dump trail users right into the heart of our downtown. Junction City is full a lot of times in the summer with bikers, eating at restaurants, drinking at the bars, that sort of thing. So we're looking to kind of capture some of those trail users. A lot of the trail users that are on it recreationally, the folks with disposable income, they're coming from the north. So I know initially we were looking at putting a trailhead facility kind of to the south of downtown. I think if folks get that far, we've already kind of missed an opportunity. So this is a chance to pull them off and direct them right into the downtown. This wouldn't be the same concept that we discussed a year or two ago. It wouldn't be the big community building, that sort of thing. This would be much more basic. We're looking at some type of gazebo for, say, mom and dad to rest in, playground for the kids to play on, restrooms, drinking fountain, bike racks, that sort of thing. Really the key to this site is going to be good signage, good lighting, striping, potentially a bike lane on Peoria to get folks into the downtown. So right now that's kind of the format that Matt and I have discussed. Again, we've had very preliminary conversations about this. This really just kind of, this opportunity presented itself very recently, and we have to move kind of quick because of the deadlines. We're thinking right now, I think, that we would go after the whole $290,000. It is a 20% match, so our end of it would be somewhere in the 70 grand range. So it would give us about 360, which I think we could get a real nice project completed for that. And I think it could be a relatively quick project as well. I mean, if this was something where we got awarded, we could turn around, go out to bid, and get under contract, I think potentially we could still have a lot of the summer biking season with this facility open. So that's probably more than anybody wanted to know, but that's kind of the long and short of it. That's why we're thinking this area. And again, I know it does seem kind of weird at first glance. So again, not really a trail head, not a destination per se that folks would be driving their cars to and getting on their bikes. These are people that are already coming from up north. So it would be more of a trail stop to kind of pull off that user into our downtown instead of them just speeding by and going to downtown Peoria or Junction City.
Would that matter for the grant? I mean, does it stipulate that it has to be like a trailhead where people have to pull into?
This still qualifies, and I think actually this may, I know last time we got kind of hemmed up with some of the parking regulations, with some of the ADA regulations. So if we're just doing on-street parking that already exists, I think this may actually be a smoother process for us, and we could eliminate a lot of the problems that we had last time.
Well, I think right now, no one really thinks of the end of Duryea as a trail access.
Right.
So this helps create that. And, you know, I will also say that when I first heard about this project, I was like, I think a lot of the feedback has been from the board that, you know, this doesn't make sense. It's not close enough to the downtown area to promote foot traffic that helps our merchants out. And Director Smith was kind enough to meet me down at the location and show me his vision. And at first I went into it with a closed mind, thinking there's no way this is going to work. This is the wrong location. But by the time he had laid out his vision for this building and the potential to safely pull bicycle and pedestrian traffic into the downtown corridor without having to play Frogger across, the Marietta crossing there, I was sold. I'm on board with the project. I think it's a fantastic idea and another avenue, if you'll pardon the pun, for getting people into the downtown area.
I think any time that we can get funding for a project that will benefit the village, we should go after it. And I compliment you for thinking outside the box, because I think this is a great idea.
All right. Are we going to have any more discussion on this before, or is this sort of it? Are we voting right now?
No. We're voting in 2 weeks. Director Smith and Administrator Fick are going to put
That's
2 weeks.
Yeah, 15.
Are going to put a package together giving a little more information about it.
My own 2 cents were great idea, again, finding this grant. Free money is great, but if we're going to spend $350,000 on a gazebo, we might as well spend a little bit more and then make it a place where people can actually use for different things other than, just driving the bike there and getting a drink of water.
Yeah, I think
I kind of like the original idea where it would be more of a place that would have, multi-functions.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what bang we can get for the buck. And I think a structure of some type would be nice, but we have to take into consideration too the maintenance and upkeep of such a building. After the nightmare that we went through with IDOT and Tri-County Regional Planning and everything that goes with it with the trailhead, I applaud your go for on this, and I hope it all comes to fruition. I know you have a background in this, so I'm looking forward to having something, for the board to look at, what we have available for such a setting, and, with or without bringing people in, and I think it's going to send people into the downtown area, uptown area anyway. It's just nice to have something of substance on the trail that sets Peoria Heights apart. It's going to stand out. So I think it's great. I'm looking forward to seeing the package you come up with.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but with the previous Tiger grant that we were not able to utilize, didn't we have to match that $330,000 dollar per dollar? Whereas this, we only have a 20 cent on the dollar investment. The
previous funding was STU funding, which is surface transportation money, and that is quite a bit different than this. They awarded you a certain amount up to a cap, and it would pay for, I think what you were awarded initially was 70% of the initial concept. And then after they got into some of the design and the parking regulations and a lot of the ADA regulations and those sort of things started to build, the price of the project grew and grew and grew, and I think it ballooned to somewhere around $800,000 or $900,000. The problem was because of that STU money is programmed 5 years in advance, you were still just locked in at that rate that you were initially programmed for. So, and I think it was around $350,000. So at that point, the village was on the hook for over $500,000 to get the facility built. And to your point, Trustee Fuller, the thing I like about this site, it doesn't take away, we still own that property down by Columbus and Marietta down in that area. So if some different funding revenue or some different source ever did come available that was larger than this, I mean, there still would be the opportunity to do more of a community building still down in that area, and you could essentially kind of bookend the downtown, and potentially even now with Trefskers, that building could tie into kind of what they're doing. I know they're working on some outdoor ideas as well. So I don't necessarily think that it has to be one or the other. There could be a time in the future where it would be both.
Yeah, the whole concept is in the right of way, right? Our right of way. So we wouldn't have to purchase any land.
Correct.
So are you thinking of maybe like a pavilion type thing with some restrooms and picnic tables where people could kind of get out of the sun and...
Yeah, kind of really roughly what we were working on so far was just kind of something very similar to what's out here, like a gazebo type structure. One might be shaded, covered, well lit, where mom and dad could take a break. Another one modeled the same way, that would be restrooms, drinking fountains, that sort of thing. Some type of playground area where kids could get off their bikes and actually play, bike racks, that sort of thing. And then, but the biggest piece of this is going to be having real nice signage and directory and that sort of thing, and making it real easy for folks to make that connection to downtown. And, after seeing some of these proofs, maybe we would have to get Robbie to work on that.
I was just going to say, we need a walking tour sign in that location, I think.
It might take me 5 years.
Well, we'll pay for that one.
But it'll be good.
We'll cover that one.
Okay. Any other questions at all for Director Smith or Administrator Fick? All right, again, kudos to you gentlemen, and we're looking forward to the package we're going to get. I think the public will be very interested as well. This brings us now to the payment of the bills, and those will be read by our village clerk, Shauna Musselman.
All right, this represents the invoices that were approved at the November 24th, 2015 Departmental Committee. General fund expenditures are $323,796.74. MFT is $149,996.63 for total village expenditures of $473,793.37. And the waterworks expenditures are $191,465.80.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions regarding the bills as read?
I move that we pay the bills as submitted.
Have a motion from Trustee Cumming.
Second.
Second from Trustee Carter. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Trustee Harn?
Aye.
Trustee Carter?
Aye.
Trustee Cumming?
Aye.
Trustee Reichert? Trustee Fuller?
Okay, thank you. By a vote of 5-0, the board has approved the payment of the bills as read. We will next be asking the board to go into executive session regarding personnel. We will adjourn after that. You're more than welcome to stay around through the executive session, but the only thing we'll be coming back to is reconvene for the adjournment. But before we do so, next departmental committee meeting will be held Tuesday, January 26th, 2016 at 6:30 p.m. And the next Board of Trustees meeting will be held Tuesday, December 15th at 6:30 p.m. At this time, we need a motion from the board to retire into executive session for personnel.
So moved.
Have a motion from Trustee Reichert.
Second.
Second from Trustee Fuller. All those in favor of retiring into executive session regarding personnel, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Thank you. The board has approved going into executive session at this time regarding personnel. And once again, thank you all for attending the meeting tonight.